Two old-age pensioners collided at the intersection of the pavements of Duke Street and Upper Brook Street. Next of kin have been informed.
Every day sees similar dramas on the pavements of Britain. Is there anything that can be done to make the pavements of Britain a fit place for pedestrians to pedest upon?
The answer, sir, to the dreadful toll on Britain's pavements is footwear inspection checkpoints, where the braking power and turning ability of pedestrians may be thoroughly tested, and those found with defective shoe leathers fined heavily on the spot.
Sir, there can be no solution until we reconsider the whole design of pedestrians. A start should be made by fitting them with horns, lights and rear-view mirrors.
Sir, the late Mr. Marples, reasoning that a pedestrian did not need the same width to turn in as a motor vehicle, introduced the mini-pavement at the side of all new roads and also constructed 12,000 miles of centre pavement. It is interesting to note that to date only 3 pedestrians have lived to describe their experiences on these new pavements.
Sir, there should be proper 3-lane pavements and 1-way pavements.
Proper signs rerouting pedestrians along alternative pavements when there is over-congestion.
And people meters.
But in fact, you've only got to look a little observantly at pavements to realise what's wrong. And what are they playing at? Laying out pavements like an obstacle race. I mean, when you start looking at pavement, you find a place where people have deposited, amongst other things, lampposts, telephone boxes, parking meters, refuse bins and sand bins, sudden great yawning holes, traffic lights and boxes that regulate traffic lights, pillar boxes, bus stops and bus shelters, come hither signs, keep your distance signs, water fountains, milk machines, stamp machines, cigarette machines, small businesses and libraries, and quaint little homes, wigwams, fences, young forests, not to mention the odd artist, but above all, a vast jungle of signs giving advice and heeding caution to the passing motorist. And it is through this jungle that the pedestrian is expected to squeeze by, to stumble. In any encounter between one of these impediments and a pedestrian, there can only be one outcome. In other words, what our pavements have become are public utility strips, serving as a depository for all those features which would get in a motorist's way if they were placed in the road, which would similarly inconvenience householders if dumped in their front gardens. The real solution, you are thinking among yourselves, is to sweep away all these impediments and hand the pavement back to their rightful owners, the pedestrians of Britain whose heritage they are. No, it is more drastic than that. The real solution, it is to do away with pavements altogether, thereby releasing a vast acreage of valuable, if eccentrically shaped land for building on, and to give pedestrians the roads to pedest upon, having first, of course, removed all motorists from these roads. And where do they go, you ask querulously? This matter I am still working on. Though I can tell you at this point that invalids and other pedestrians using crutches will still be banned from using the M1.
News, Ohio, it's extraordinary, isn't it, the picture of England that Americans must get from their newspapers reading about us. This is a quote from a newspaper in Akron, Ohio, and it's headlined, it's about England, and it's headlined, "What-O," which is what one expects. And it reads, "A fox hunt near the English village of Little Morton in the Marsh was turned into a riot yesterday. The animal the dogs were chasing turned out to be an escaped chimpanzee, or, as it is called in England, a chimpanzee. Escaped, presumably, from his cage at the Piccadilly Circus. Downing Street, it was announced today that Mrs. Green, the 10 Downing Street cook, has been given the sack. She told the Sunday Telegraph, who naturally picked this up, I was told Mrs. Wilson didn't want the same standard of cooking as the Humes. Over now for a comment to Lady Pamela Stitty.
Lady Pamela, hello. How does Mrs. Wilson's reaction to this domestic crisis strike you?
Well,
I sympathise with her, of course, enormously. One does miss one's kitchen so dreadfully. I know I always slip into the kitchen on Cook's day off and cook an omelette for Edward when he doesn't insist on dragging me off to a restaurant. But of course, I sympathise as well with the way she feels, obviously, about dinner parties, because I know that one doesn't always feel like talking to 20 or 30 people. No, but I feel that one must take the effort for one's husband, you know. It can be fun.
But Lady Pamela, do you think Mrs. Wilson was right to sack such a valuable servant?
Well, I must admit I am surprised at her letting a good servant go in days like this when they are so few and far between. There's a song about it, isn't there? A good man nowadays is hard to find.
But Mrs. Green herself, do you think all this fuss in the press was justified?
Well, I must say that she is the one that I feel really sorry for. It is terribly hard for her, I think, to be turned out after such a long time. I mean, she was there for absolutely ages, you know, almost as long as the Humes. And from what I read in the Express this morning, she was really doing her utmost to please. It said that on the first day she served roast beef and Yorkshire pudding, and on the second day she made a Hungarian goulash.
Lady Pamela, thank you.
The reason I'm here is I wouldn't be here at all if someone had a spanner. I'd be off like a streak of spit from a bugler if I had a spanner, only nobody round here knows how to fasten a fly button, let alone do up a nut. So I'm waiting for my turgid brother to give me a lift home. All they can do around here is press buttons. And if a button sticks or anything, they start vomiting into the telephones as if the whole building's on fire and they're falling out of the windows. If you really want to make the grade at the BBC, you've got to be born with the telephone in each ear. They give you a course in telephoning when you join. I know that for a fact because my brother's what they call a production assistant. He does his teeth with one turgid ear to the telephone. He's always grabbing telephones and giving people the old saliva and calling them by their Christian names, even if they've never heard of each other before. All he actually says is, you know. Just that. Oh, I thought the show was sort of, you know. Personally, I sort of, you know, felt we should have done it a bit more kind of, you know. Then the other fella, you know's right back at him. They stand there, you knowing each other for hours. Smashes me to fragments. They got so many Zowie degrees that they can't find a single word to describe anything. Nothing adequate in the whole turgid dictionary. Why I'm here is I came to borrow some money from him. Only just then, this producer came in with about 16 secretaries tied up to him in telephone cord. They keep these pussies around the BBC to give people the old saliva. If you're a producer, you have about 16 pussies waiting to fall about when you make a witty remark.